All right, let's talk about setting your Seint makeup. So technically with Seint, I don't even use a primer, I don't use a powder, I don't use a setting spray most of the time. But if you need some extra staying power, for whatever reason, whether it's your skin type or something else, you can use a variety of methods. So, and you can use whatever you had. It doesn't have to be Seint brand. Eventually having everything in one compact is nice, but I always tell people use what you have first. You know, don't spend extra money until you need it. So don't like throw out your old powder because it's not Seint. We're not about that life. Okay, so first I'm going to take my Seint Perfector sponge. Yes, it is softer and better than other ones, but you can buy a cheap one if it's, you know, it's better than nothing. So what I did, so when I, a second ago, this sponge was like this small and it was harder, right? So I put it underwater and I squeezed it until it doesn't, so nothing else is wringing out of it. But you can hear it's a little bit wet, okay? And then I took a paper towel and I wrung out any excess. And you can see there was barely any, so I did that. So now that it's big and beautiful, I am just gonna use the large end to go over those large areas, and that's really just gonna press my makeup in, especially for mature skin, so it's really covering those fine lines and wrinkles. I'm gonna turn it on to its side, and then you can see like that area needed some extra love. And we've got small places to get in our small areas. Probably need to be careful touching my eyeshadow. And then moving it around to the rest of my face. I don't want to put green on my face. All right, so that is one thing you can do. Of course, I've got kids coughing in the background of my videos because mom life. Okay, so that's the first thing you can do. It's gonna set it in really nicely. If you need an extra step, you can then use, we have a setting spray and it smells like the beach, it's glorious. You can choose to spray that right onto your sponge. I like to use a different, cheaper sponge to do that. And then, because I don't want like a film, like a kind of crusty film of sticky setting spray on my good sponge. So I use like those cheap dollar store sponges to apply that. I do the same thing though. I do get it bigger and wring it out, because if your sponge is too dry, it's gonna take your makeup off. If your sponge is too wet, it's gonna take your makeup off. It needs to be just barely damp. So there is kind of a sweet spot. Or you can hold it back here and just spray it. I would do that before I did my mascara. So that's why I'm not gonna do this in this video, but you'll just mist that onto your face. And then I give it a little one of these and dry, and then it's not gonna go anywhere. There are different brands of setting spray you can use. If you're super, super oily, I'm a fan of Fitish, F-I-T-I-S-H, Fitish, what's it called? Fitish. It smells like eucalyptus, it's glorious. Don't sweat it, no. But it's really good for people that are like sweaters, like if you have hot flashes or if you are just very oily. Can't remember the name of it. I need to say it, but the Seint one is great and it smells really good. And I always try to tell people to get it with your freebies. So if you refer a friend to your artist, then boom, you've got $20 in credit and one item half off. So you've got this for free, and you've got a free, you know, a half off item that you can use, or you could use that half off item on this, and it's a great thing to do. So usually just one or two friends, because I need $200 in orders to get you that $20 credit and half off item. You can do that for those big ticket items like setting spray or brushes or the moisturizer, which you 100% need to be using. But that is how we set our makeup. You can also use the powder. So we have a powder brush. Nothing is insanely special about Seint powder. It's just a typical translucent powder. I do recommend my women of color not use it. We used to have a darker one, and we're working on getting a darker one again. I'm gonna have all kinds of kids in the background in this video. But I recommend you get a darker one because it is translucent, but I do feel like it kind of takes away from the makeup. So this fits right down in there, and you'll just do that in the areas that you need that extra love, whether that be your nose or wherever your oil or your T-zone. You can use the other side as well. Just kind of pat, pat, pat. I'm careful because I've got those wrinkles in that area and I don't want it to settle in those fine lines and wrinkles. But for the rest of my face, you can also use the powder. And I'm sure you've seen the videos on TikTok where people put their, like they pull like a big thing of blush or something, boom, boom on each side. And on one side, they cover it with the powder like this. And on the other side, they don't. And then they go back through it, and like one side with the without the powder smears, and the side with the powder barely moves. So, I mean, it definitely works. So you can use that. Again, it's an optional step. I recommend not putting on extra things unless you need it, unless it's bothering you that it's shiny in that area or it's coming off on something. I hugged my godson the other day, and I got a little bit of makeup on his white shirt, and I was like, oh, maybe I should have worn my setting spray or my powder that day. But hug at your own risk, okay, in the white sheet shirt. So there we go. That's your setting with Seint makeup. I apologize for all the hooligans in the background, but Remember, pores are normal. Don't believe all the filtered things online. Skin has texture, but Seint makeup has skin texture.